Cheers, I think we're live. This thing was giving me a lot of issues today, but I think we're good. Hello, everybody. Been 2 weeks. I know a lot of people were disappointed that we weren't going to do these on a regular basis anymore, and I want to kind of lead in with the fact that this isn't going to be a weekly thing. I don't think that that's going to be the way forward. So at the very minimum here, what I've decided to do is to do it once a month. That is probably going to be the smartest way to do this, and also towards the end of the month. So it'll almost be like a recap of whatever nonsense has happened during the month related to, all sorts of stuff in the community and then with gear and all that fun stuff because you guys like that. And outside of that, maybe once in a while for a random thing that pops up if I think it's like a big enough deal to make a stream about. But yeah, I've been very, very productive. Very productive, and I'm actually working on something that I never thought I would work on, a style of music. And it's coming along very well, and it's definitely not, I don't know, it doesn't really fall in line with this channel at all. But somebody gave me the idea for it, and it's been reinforced several times. And I've just been really working on it, and I'm super happy with the results. So I've been spending a lot of time doing that. But also, behind the scenes, we've got a lot going on too. So what I'll do first is I'll say hello, and then we'll jump into some of the other stuff. But before I do that, I'm going to say hello first, then I'll jump into the other stuff. Hey, Greg. How are you doing? I knew you'd be here. Daniel, David, Rex, and Daniel again. Sensible and fine. Glad to be here for all that and catch up. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I still want to have time to continue to do all the other stuff. And tomorrow is the start of something freaking wild. I don't know how else to put it. It really is. It is really wild, which is going to lead me right into we have a sponsor now. So I think it pops up. This stream is sponsored by Zounds. Well, let me tell you something. All right. These guys reached out to me a few weeks ago, and they were like, are you interested in potentially working together and all that? And I learned a lot about their company, and also we have started to work together, and they were cool with this. They're like, we'll sponsor the streams and all that. And I was like, whoa. I was like, that's super awesome. And it's going to lead to a lot of fun. I can't spoil because it's literally tomorrow's video. It's already filmed and it's done. But there's going to be opportunities that are going to be really interesting for people here, as well as, for myself, obviously, because I get to play with some cool gear stuff. But at the end of the day, we're going to try a new take on things. Because one thing that I've noticed and I've hated about the way YouTube is done is this. As the viewer, and this is just my own experience, you guys can tell me if you guys have experienced this or not, right? When there is a new product launch, and you load up, if you didn't know there was a new product launch, your feed is full of that one product from everybody. So it's just like, it's forced down your throat, so to speak. And you do have people that in between, they'll do videos. That's basically what I do. I don't think I've ever done a launch day product, ever, which is that's kind of weird. But no, I've just never done it, and I don't know. I just don't like that approach of it because I feel like the audience, you guys and me in particular too, like if I am looking for something, like I want something that's a little bit different or maybe something really specific and nobody demos it. Like there's guitars that you guys have asked me to demo now for years. It just hasn't worked out for one reason or another. Like I'm thinking of something like the Guild Surfliner. That one has a vibrato on it. It kind of matches the offset thing that I have going on here. And to be honest with you, I haven't had the money to want to put into something that I didn't think I was going to like. So if there was a way that we could potentially demo things that you people want to vote on and nominate, now that would be a pretty cool idea, wouldn't it? And then I wouldn't have any, the bearing the responsibility of losing all that money, because that's the other thing. This has been running at a loss for a long time. That's not good. So part of the reason I wanted to stop to begin with was because it's like, look, if I'm not going to make any money doing this, I might as well take that time instead and work on music because it's a lot more fulfilling, obviously. So if we can kind of mesh and make a hybrid system here that works, I think we might be onto something, and I'm really excited about that. So we'll have to see how that goes. Morning, Chad, and Rafa, and Mark's gas station. Yeah. So no. These guys are really cool. So what's cool about them, and one of the reasons why I like them, this is not a pitch. It's just it's just truth. One thing I really hate about buying stuff right now online or even just browsing is all the credit card bullshit. There's no other way of putting it because it's Affirm. It's Klarna, Afterpay, and then like Guitar Center or Sweetwater. They want you to they want you to use a card. Now, what used to be was on those other cards, it was 0%. So I didn't have any problems with those, but they updated their terms. So you're getting a fee on those. And then the fine print says if you miss one of your payments, you're going to pay like 36%, and they don't give a damn. So it's like, it's a really rough thing. And one thing that Zounds does is they don't run a credit check. Like, you don't get a credit card. There's no application. Like, they just, whatever piece of gear you want, they break it into either 6, 12, or for some things, I think it's 18 payments, and then you just pay it off your debit card. And I think that's really a much smarter way to go about it, especially because credit is like kind of in a hilarious spot right now. But that's a different conversation. But no, they were super cool. And the same guy who has owned that place is still the owner, the guy who founded it. Is it in 1995 or 1996? And I thought that was pretty cool too, because you don't hear about that very often. A lot of times when I think about like online retailers, I think that they're like big corporate or big this or big that. That's not always the case. And these guys have been so good to me and really responsive, and it feels like I'm just talking to guitar players when I talk to them. So there is a link to the description. You want to check out their website. Helps me, helps them, and they're definitely people worth helping out. That's it for them for today, though. Tomorrow there'll be a little bit more. You are back. It's an Easter resurrection miracle. That's kind of sacrilege, especially because somebody called me Guitar Jesus because my hair is out of control. And I was editing last night the video that I was just referencing, 4 Sounds for Tomorrow. And I think it's time, dude. I think I got to cut it all off. I look ridiculous. I don't know. I think it's too much. The hair's got to go. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing well. I hope you're doing well too, man. Hope you're doing well too, man. Or woman. I can't tell. You're an anonymous avatar behind the screen here. But outside of that, I mean, it's been just like a trip. And honestly, everybody needs some sort of breather room once in a while. I was fortunate that I took that breather room and ran with constructive stuff and not negative stuff, because there's a whole lot of negative stuff out there. And and just looking at some of the stuff that was like getting views. Actually, let me see if I can beam this over to my phone. If I can beam this to my laptop to show you guys. All right. I debated making a video on this because honestly, it would have been smart business because everybody clicks on these sorts of videos. But I didn't do it. However, I did have a few things, screenshots that I took notes of, because I really think it just like, it summarized everything so well here. There was one more. I know I'm looking at my phone, but I'm looking specifically for a screenshot. All right, there's the other one. Okay. There's number 2. Now in the Discord, I've discussed these two things. So let me go ahead, let me find them. I'm going to rename them, and I'm going to load them in. Example 1, and we're going to move this example 1. Let's make these all recent. I promise I'm going somewhere with this. Date created. Example 1, we'll put that in the documents. And then example 2. Now, the first thing I want you to know, and to keep it to consideration here, is that I'm not pointing out either of these channels in any sort of way, because like I said, from a view standpoint, I fully understand it, why people do this. And I used to get mad when people did this, but with the way that things work and the way that, the audience is the audience. They can say they want to click on something, but at the end of the day, this is what actually is going to happen. So let's go to example 1. We'll click it. And now let's move it. So this guy, he's got way more subscribers than I do. All right. But here, this is what I want you to look at. So you have a bunch of videos. 2 days, 700. 5 days, 400. 12 days, 11,000. Now, why does that one have 11,000? Because it was about drama bullshit. And he was late to the party. If this guy had made this video earlier on, which we're going to see another example of, he would have done better with this. And then before that, again, will tariffs make your guitars too expensive? 800 views. And then the last one, 800 views. The point of it is the majority of what this guy, and this guy's working hard, man. Like, these aren't like 2-minute videos. You got 22-minute video, 8-minute video, 9-minute video, 12 minutes and 41 seconds, 13-minute video. You get the point, right? So it's not like he's making this garbage content. And he's got like 40-something thousand subscribers. The video that gets the attention out of all that hard work is the drama tube bullshit. Because that's what the audience wants to click on. And the other thing is, let me show you example 2 here, because this is not isolated. I actually have like 10, but these are just the ones that I had on my phone. And I was like, you know what? I'll load them up. Now, this is another example of it, because this guy, I purposely left this guy's channel out of it. And the reason I left this guy's channel out of it is because I think he has like not even 1,000 subscribers, or it's right around 1,000. All right. So 100 views, 97 views, 96 views, 40,000 views. And I think he actually used the same picture of the guy too. You're not going to tell me that there's something wrong with the way that this whole community as like a whole works here? That's the stuff that gets popular. And again, I got nothing against those people. They're very smart for doing that. I debated doing it, but I was just like, I didn't take a moral high ground. I just said, no, I'd rather just spend my time not filming some shit like that. I'm going to work on a song. So I did. But when you actually physically look at the numbers like that, can you blame these people for doing that? Absolutely not. If you're going to work hard at something, and then people are like, oh, well, it's only 1 view and you're not going to get paid a ton of stuff off of that. Yeah, but you know what you are going to do? You're going to introduce yourself to a new audience potentially, or somebody who's never heard of your channel before. Maybe they like your delivery. Maybe they like your backdrop. Maybe they just like your taste in guitars, because a lot of us, we'll put guitars in the background. Me, I got amps and freaking Pokemon, but, there was a time where you could see a guitar behind me, and you can get a vibe. And maybe that person, because they watched that one video, they liked, your take on it. So then they'll come back and watch other videos. So, I don't know. I got really frustrated. Because it's like, I can either do that junk, or, I could make stuff that I work super hard on, and nobody's going to click it. Just like nobody clicks that other stuff from those people too. It's like we're all in the same boat. So it's an interesting spot to be in with just doing guitar, I guess, if you want to call it that, on YouTube, because at the end of the day, nobody wants to work for nothing here. But also, in an ideal world, you'd be working more for stuff that you care about. So I'm going to click the chat, and I want to read what you guys have to say about what I just showed you. Oh, no. If you cut your hair, you lose your powers like Samson. I almost quoted that Chappelle movie. I can't say it, though. I'll probably get me in trouble in 2025. Oh, I'm tempted. I won't do it, though. Anyway, anyone know any after good pickguards for Vintera Mustangs? Oh, you're impossible. The only place that I would go to that is WD Music. That's it. That's the only one. And then even then, I think that they have like a sub company, right? I think they're based out of Fort Myers. Technically, WD is also based out of Fort Myers. They're just right above the city. You have to go into Cape Coral to get there, Cape Coral. But there's another place. I think it's Pickguard Haven, where they'll do like much more custom cuts of things. They're the ones that got my Corey Wong pick guard from, and nobody else would make the Corey Wong pick guard. That's where I would go. You've been an AMS customer. Yep. Since the late 90s when they were Victor's House of Music. My rep even came on vacation here to see me play. Great company for my experience. That's awesome. Yeah, I knew that they were their sister companies. Technically, they're different entities in their own rights. But, you know, I think the way it works is they share inventory. That's to my understanding. I didn't really pick their brains too hard on that. But we're going to show them a lot of support. And believe me, when you see tomorrow, you'll be like, oh, yeah. You'll get it. Okay, so if you guys want to, that's a link to Zounds. I'm actually going to pin that. Right? We're also going to really be doing a lot more towards TrueFire. And the other thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing a lot more member stuff. Because I don't feel like I've given back enough to the people that have been members of this channel and that have actually supported me beyond just watching the videos for the last few years. I did two things. The first thing I did was I reopened the Patreon. That was only open for, I think, about 3 months. So I just opened that yesterday or the night before that. Honestly, it's all blur. But I posted the first kind of intro message there. If you guys want to check that out, you can just read what it is. And tomorrow, everything, I swear, it sounds so stupid. And it's all like, oh, he's making me wait until tomorrow. But it really is the truth. I will ruin the entire video if I tell you anymore. But there's going to be a few extra things that are different that I've never seen any other person on YouTube offer that we're going to be able to do for people that are either members of the channel or people that join the Patreon. And at the end of the day, that's the other thing. I was just like, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to take time away from my family. I'm going to take time away from making my own music. I'm trying to make money, and if it doesn't work, so be it. But you don't get anywhere if you don't try, right? Drama is always selling. I am not a YouTuber. But I always read here that success is coming through doing what you love. See, but that's bullshit. I agree with you, but it's wrong. Like, it's just like any other industry, though, dude. It's just like any other industry. It's not just about that. Think about some of the people on YouTube who are objectively bad people. Like, objectively bad people. Like Logan Paul. That guy's done, like, deplorable stuff. And he continues to do deplorable stuff. He scammed his viewers out of millions of dollars. He still hasn't paid a penny back. What's his reward for that? He still, just gets pushed everywhere whenever he posts anything. And I think he's now like Stone Cold Steve Austin. No experience, no anything like that. And he just gets to be like a pro wrestler. Now imagine, again, if... And as we're deviating from the plot here, but I'll get to the main point again. You're somebody who does do what they love. Say that you were a big guy and you dedicated your whole life to pro wrestling, and then this asshole comes in, and they're just like, oh no, this is what the people want, because at the end of the day, it ain't about you. It's about the customer. It's about what the customer wants, and you get to watch this guy go and take everything you wanted, even though you got no passion for it. Just happens to be pretty decent at it. And I have followed my passion with music. Music to me has paid me back, not monetarily, in ways that I can't even express. That, man, I made out like a bandit. But at the end of the day, I need to make, money too. So, it is what it is. But to the point of doing what you love, eventually paying back, that only works if you get the support to continue to do it. And that goes two ways here. One, you have to be willing to ask for it, and you have to value yourself enough to be able to ask for it. And two, people have to be willing to actually support you and not just treat you like another channel or another program on a channel. And then when you get canceled because nobody actually did anything to support it, whining because, oh, it's canceled now. It's like, well, it's because you didn't support the show. It's similar in that sense to that. So it's finding a balance between those two things, at least in my opinion, having done this, for 5 years. So I don't know. And then just seeing the success that can be had from, at the end of the day, it's like you start to not care because you do things the honest way for so long. Like not that anything's dishonest, but like you do things like on your terms, your way. And one day it's gonna work. One day it's gonna work. You know, you think like you're building something, and then it just never pans out. And then you're just sitting here with something in your hands, like, oh well, that sucked. Part of it was fun, but like financially, I could have made more money working at a gas station for like a 12th of the hours or a 20th of the hours, and then I just could have kept music as my passion and my love. I think that's the problem with it. So I get what you're saying. Just giving you my perspective. Best jazz master for $1,300 or under used? Japanese. The end. Doesn't matter if it's a JM66 or a traditional 60s. You can get one of those for that fairly easily. Just don't buy from places like Flash Footed Gear, Mike and Mike's Guitar Bar, places like that. And if you can live without the custom colors, you're going to make out even better. Like if you're okay with Olympic White, for example, or Ocean Turquoise. Here, you know what? I'll shout out some dudes. Patreon is better. Patreon is better for sure. Because they let you keep more of it than YouTube, just as a general rule of thumb. And I'll get back to that in a second, but I do want to show you, because you're asking about Jazz Masters, right? I'll do all you guys a solid right now, because I'm going to load up a different website. And these guys are not thieves. Not that these other... And you know what? I say that, but I immediately have to correct what I'm saying, because nobody is a thief that sells anything at a high price. Because if somebody's willing to pay that price for it, it is what it is. It just becomes normalized. However, these guys, the better way to phrase this is that they consistently price realistically, and they price well compared to the majority of other people, but most people don't know them. So let me make sure they have some in stock. I'm sure they have at least one or two. Okay, they do. So let's go ahead, and we're going to change it now so that we can go to the window captures. The window capture is going to bring me to Google. Oh, no, you don't want to see my YouTube studio. Trust me. That's just going to be a picture of me, and you'll be like Inception. Be awkward. Okay. So, we're at a place called Guitar Chimp, right? $11.99. Boom, there you go. This is 2022. These people provide you with all the important information. You get your fret depths, you get your weight. They even provide a video on most of their guitars, just doing a general overview of it. They're really honest about any wear. They're good people. Okay, let's see what else they got. They had one that I thought was I couldn't believe it hadn't sold yet. Look at that. You guys want to use Jazzmaster? If you don't care about the rhythm circuit, that's a Japanese custom color Jazzmaster for $1,000. For $1,000. It's 2022. 8 pounds, 2 ounces. That's fairly light for a big offset. Good neck shape on that. Oh no, it's got a few scratches. Somebody actually played their guitar and didn't just leave it in the case. Awesome. Awesome. $1,000. $1,000. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to put this link in the chat for everybody to see. Okay? These guys are good people, man. They're good people. They're good people. And then you can get even some of the rarer ones. Like this is a higher end Japanese model, $1,500. Some of those other places I mentioned, you would never be able to find this for under $2,100. These guys will sell it to you for $15, because these come with the American pickups in them. Nice guitars, man. Nice guitars. And you don't have to say I sent them, anything like that. You just get good prices. If you guys really want to help me out here, buy this and give it to my wife. That's her favorite color. And that's her favorite guitar. See, but $1,200. Look at that. You don't need to get ripped off. You don't need to get ripped off. Like, with the Jazzmaster especially, there's no reason to pay these outrageous prices. All right, I just want used. I don't want these new ones. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Oh, look at the disparity here. Look at the disparity here. $2,200, and they're from my hometown. I wonder where you guys learned how to import these guitars. I wonder where it could have been. Wonder who taught you that. Wonder whose videos you watched. Carlsbad, California. Oh, many a good friend in California. Anyway, so yeah, you're literally paying $900 more for basically nothing. Same thing here. Obviously, awful price. This price, trash. That's a trash price. Those guitars are like $1,200. Those specific models. The Jazzmasters, there's more of them, and there's more competition. So with the Jaguar, paying a little bit more is actually more understandable because we have no alternatives. There are very few alternatives, and from production models in the United States of America, there's nothing. You only have the Vintera 2. But with the Jazzmaster, that ain't the case. The Jazzmaster, that's not the case. You don't have to pay those crazy prices. So check out places like that. Guitar Chimp always has really solid gear at really solid prices. Yeah, yeah. If I speak, I've spoken enough. But that's why you guys like me. That's why you guys like me, I think. Oh, man. Okay. Let me go back to a few things here. Okay. YouTube Guitar is like the old supermarket magazine sections. What sold more? Architectural Digest or National Enquirer? You're exactly right. And now you can have more pride if you were somebody who is accredited enough to write for the Digest. But you probably didn't make as much money as the schmuck making up headlines about Halle Berry or whoever, or Jessica Alba. She was my favorite. In the National Enquirer. You try buying your album a couple times and payment doesn't process. Visa from Europe. That's weird. Well, I'll tell you what. I have this included in the Patreon. Anybody who becomes a patron, I give you a free copy anyways. So if you become a patron, I'll directly email it to you from my hard drive. You don't have to worry about that. That's included with it. That's one of the perks, so to speak. But I appreciate that. Wait, are U.S. and Mexican specs the same? Wouldn't a U.S. guard fit? No, they're a little bit different. Also, the U.S. guards don't come with the sliders. You have to remember that. The U.S. guards come with the three-way toggle switch at the top. That's not going to be there on the Vintera 2 Mustang or the Vintera 1 Mustang. Instead, the Vinteras use the correct sliders, no three-way toggles. So they won't just drop in and fit. You'd have to do more altering. And actually, you couldn't even do that because if you wanted to use an American pickguard, the body is not routed to fit that. So you can't just easily switch from having the two switches to a three-way toggle. You'd have to actually route out that cavity underneath the pickguard to be able to hold that three-way toggle switch. And then you'd have to just extend the wires long enough so that it could go all the way around from the... Yeah, I'll just visually, it makes more sense to show you. Yeah, so you'd have to, instead of having the two sliders here, because what normally happens with a Fender Mustang, you get pickup, they both connect right here, very short connections, and then they go into the metal control plate. On the American guitars, and this one is going to be similar only because the toggle's up here, you would just have to make sure you have enough lead from the pickups to be able to get to the toggle switch. And then you're going to have to get from the toggle switch all the way around to the cavity again. That's all. It's doable. It is totally doable, but you should know that beforehand. Otherwise, you're going to open it up and you're going to be like, oh, man, I can't do what I wanted to do. Now I have to order parts. Now I'm waiting. That sucks. Cheers. Don't U.S. and Mexican Fenders use different plates for screws? Which part of the guitar? You're talking about pickguard, no. Yeah, Chad, Guitar Chip are awesome, man. Guitar Chip are awesome. Harbor 2 pickup was dead for a few months. Looked up online, saw many people have this issue. Do you have this problem? Any advice? Really love this guitar. It's a Jazzmaster. Have you tested it with a multimeter? Because if you've tested it with a multimeter and it's dead, you have to replace the pickup. It's not worth getting a rewind on one of those. But that's not a common thing. I've had a lot of those guitars, and I've never had one go, and I've never had one come in gone. The only thing that I could think of, because of the way that the grounding works on those, it potentially, if somebody goes under the pickguard and screws with something a little bit, I could see where you could fairly easily cause a short. And if you have an electrical short, guess what's going to happen? You're not going to get any sound. But the first thing you have to do is test it with the digital multimeter to make sure you're getting a reading. If you're getting a reading, good. If you're not getting any reading, your pickup's dead. All right. If I remember correct, this is true for the offsets of Japan and the US. Yes, perhaps. Eddie was thinking that a vintage style US pickguard might fit. Eddie doesn't like Mustangs. Eddie doesn't like Mustangs. Just do what I said. Okay? Just do what I said. And you could tell him. You could tell him, stop, don't talk. You know what? Anybody ask him about Mustangs, he could freely forward them to me. He does not like those guitars. He doesn't really work on those guitars. He's a Jazz Master and a Jaguar guy. And he'll be the first one to tell you that. That's not me slandering it. Oh, man. If the neck was bigger, you would have bought the Einoran. I can't pronounce that. Jazz Master last year. I like it. But for Jazz Masters, like, I don't know how I haven't bought that Ocean Turquoise one yet. That's been up for a while. That's a great price. It's a really nice guitar. I know how I haven't. I don't need it. And Jazz Masters always gives me headaches. I love them. And I don't remember if I had this talk in the Discord or if we had it on the last stream, because the last stream was over 2 weeks ago. But I said if the house was on fire and I could only grab one guitar, I'd grab the Jazz Master. It's probably the worst playing guitar I have. Outside of like the really cheap ones that I have out right now that I'm trying to list and sell locally. But like out of the good guitars, the ones that like I actually play, that's probably the worst one playing experience wise. But it's the one that got like actually kicked all the time and beaten to shit and recorded with and wrote so many songs and just did so much fun stuff with it. I get to play overlooking the freaking Pacific Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean with that guitar. How freaking cool is that, man? It's like the ultimate, like, whoa moment. Playing shows right on the beach. Man. I miss a lot about California. But not enough to make me want to go back. I haven't lost my mind. In the past, you're very happy with your replacement pickups from WD Music. Yeah, WD's good. WD's good. Pickguard screws, it really doesn't matter all that much, honestly, dude. Because if you have a guitar that's routed or drilled for American ones, if you use the Mexican ones, the slightly smaller ones, it's not really going to cause a difference because you're not really relying on it to do much weight holding, so to speak. You know, you're not asking it to hold in a vibrato unit. You're asking it to hold in a pickguard, and then you have between 8 and 11 screws to help you do it. So I wouldn't stress about that. Are there any Japanese pickups? Japanese pickups I like. The Seitones are really good for modern ones. The old Maxon ones from the 80s are freaking unbelievably good. But they're very expensive nowadays. They're very, very, very expensive. But like, yeah, just some of them are just really expensive. Like, there's a few boutique winders in Japan now. Just like there's a few amp builders now that have recently started popping up, and the price is just like it's just between the conversion, not the conversion, but all the other costs that are included into it for a set of pickups. Because I got a lot of options for pickups here, and a lot of companies I really like. It's not like I'm looking for a Jaguar where nobody here builds one. And I'm much more willing to go overseas and be like, you guys build it right. Like, you're my only choice. I'll happily do it. With pickups, I don't feel as limited. So I haven't experimented as much with the Japanese ones. And some of them are even more expensive, like, than like the best Lawlers you can get. And to me, that's like my ceiling. Because I know that there's some people that buy throwbacks, Ron Ellis, and it's some other really high-end pickups here in the USA. But to me, I've played a few guitars that had. Well, I played one guitar that had Ron Ellis set, and it sounded great. Don't get me wrong, but it didn't sound like night and day compared to the specialties in that from Lawler that I have. And then I played throwbacks in a custom shop Gibson Les Paul, and I'm of the train of thought you could have put any pickup, unless it was a ceramic pickup or an EMG active pickup, into that one specific guitar, and it would have been a hell of a playing experience. You would have made it work. So I didn't know how much to attribute to the pickups and just that guitar, because that guitar was outrageous. I think it was a Carmelita. Oof. Ooh. That's the thing about great Les Pauls. Great Les Pauls you never forget. You never forget those. There's not as many of them compared to like a Tellys. Yeah, bootstraps are a great value still. They've gone up a little bit, but they're still super competitive. And even stuff like Duncan's, dude. Duncan make good stuff. Fralin make good stuff. Novak, a lot of people love those pickups. I don't really have a ton of experience with them, because I went from Duncan when they were the only ones I knew that made pickups, because in the 90s, like, that was what they had in the store. If you wanted aftermarket pickups, you either get with Fender pickups, and I didn't like the way my Fender sounded, or you got Duncan's. God forbid you did lace centers. I made that mistake once. Nowadays, a lot of stores carry brands like Fralin and Lawler and Novak, Bare Knuckle. You know, I'm not going to sit here and just name off everyone. But there's just way more options. And there's a lot of affordable ones too. Some people like Tone Rider pickups. Some people swear by those. And if, you like those, or you like those super expensive brands that I was just talking about earlier, like the Ron Ellis, like, cool. As long as it's within your means, like, whatever. That's what works for you, dude. And that's what it's all about. How do you approach buying and selling parts casters? The prices are all over the place. Do you ask for paperwork? I don't buy parts casters. I won't buy a parts caster. I will give you one example where I bought a parts caster. And this was actually very recently. I bought a parts caster, American Thinline 72 Telecaster, for a very, very, very fair price. The reason it was such a fair price, he had all the original parts. The original neck, the original pickups, the original body, the original case, the original paperwork, and all of that. However, it had an aftermarket neck bolted onto it. It had an aftermarket pickguard installed into it that had Sir pickups on it. So he had the Fender pickups and the pickguard that are initially shipped with the guitar included but disconnected. He had the American Vintage 72 neck with no wear on it included with the guitar. And all that stuff is really well dated. Like, you can see on the stamps when something's taken apart, all of it was disconnected, but it was included all for the one price. I knew that I would be able to put the guitar back to stock. Just put all the stock parts back in it with the red candy apple red body, and be able to sell that, and then already be ahead, and then be left with whatever was left. Did I ever show you guys what was left out of that? Because I ended up building a guitar, which I'm going to sell. Actually, it's for sale right now if you want it. I'm grabbing it. Hold on. Yeah, you see that? It's got a crazy flame neck on this. Yeah. This is the Alt-T Killer. It's got the same bridge from the Alt-T on it. It's got the Wilkinson compensates. It's got Sir pickups. Thornbucker's got the same selectors as the Sir. This is an actual American vintage body. Recent. No marks. Serial proves it. All the markings in between prove it. The neck is a flame maple nitro finish neck from Warmouth with a compound radius and stainless steel frets. And then the guy put in the Godo tuners that fit in perfectly, and he applied the Fender logo. So this is a Fender licensed product, and I have pictures of all the stuff that's important with the serials and stuff like that. And if you are going to buy a parts caster, like, okay, so for example, if you were going to buy a guitar like this, all right, the information that you need to see the guitar disassembled. That's number one. So in the instance of this guitar, you could prove that this is an American vintage body two ways. First, two things you want to verify, rather. One, you want to run the serial. You run the serial, it's going to pop up, and nowadays it's even going to tell you the color. So you'll know that they didn't just mix and match. Second thing you could do is, once you have the pick guard uninstalled from the guitar, or not even from just uninstalled, you just unscrew it and they hold it to the side and they take a picture of the body. There's going to be 2 different barcodes minimum on the guitar. They're going to have part numbers on it. They're going to verify that this is an authentic guitar. All that stuff is going to match up. And then on the inside of the pocket, you'll have some stamps that are very distinguishably specific to American-made Fender guitars. Now at the neck, you'll know if it's a Warmouth neck because it's going to have the Warmouth logo on it. Also, what's cool about Warmouth necks is, I can't show you per se, but I can show you where it will be located. On the base of the neck where it actually screws into the body, you're going to have the specs written out on it. So it's going to tell you the nut width. It's going to tell you the size of the fret wire, whether it's made of nickel or stainless steel frets, and the radius as well. And there you go. The rest of it's not up left for choice. Pickups, you can always just, ask to see the back of them. The more information and the more pictures you have, the better. If somebody is selling you a parts caster and they say, I think, or I was told, or the previous buyer said, run, unless they are willing to take the guitar apart and show you and verify that it is what it is. Because it's very easy to take a guitar, make it look like this, except this body, which sells for a freaking $1,000 on its own now. How stupid is this world? At the Stratosphere. What if you buy one from a place like Guitar Fetish? Most people are never going to know the difference. All of a sudden, you've been had. But if you're smart enough to know where to look at the serial numbers, where to identify if things are going to match up, you never have to worry about being had. So it's just educating yourself on the specific style of parts caster that you're interested in purchasing. The more that you know, the more you'll be able to not only kind of sift through the nonsense and the bad ads, but also use as leverage for yourself to negotiate the best price you can. This also comes with the hard shell case. Anybody wants it, send me an email. It's on the website. Anyway, it's too long. I'm telling you, it's too long, you guys. All right. Greg, get that Tone King from Zounds. Let me know how it is. I'm serious. Help me while feeding your addiction. And these guys are good. These guys are good. I might be upgrading my Jazzmaster Hybrid 2 if it's dead. Do you think the Curtis Novaks are better than the original Any Rex? What do you want? That's the question here. Do you want something that sounds like a humbucker, or do you want something that sounds like a Jazzmaster? That's going to seriously impact what I recommend to you. Because if you want something that's going to be more aggressive, I will not tell you to get Lindy Fralin pickups. I won't tell you to get the Black Bobbin Lawler set. Damn, my dog is pissed. But if you wanted more aggressive stuff, I don't like wide range style humbucker Jazzmaster pickups, regardless of the brand. I just don't. They sound off. They just sound off in these guitars. If you want something more aggressive, I would go with the Lindy Fralin P90s. You could even get them silent. I actually made a you know what? You want to hear what a Hybrid 2 sounds like with the set of those pickups in it? I made a video where I compared the two of them. You know what? I'll see if I can link it in here. And you know what? No, I'm going to link this anyways for you because it shows you the difference. You'll get Jazzmaster tone from both, like traditional Jazzmaster tone. Jazzmaster comparison. No. Jazzmaster. Oh my god, how many videos have I made on the Jazzmaster alone? Not nearly as many as I thought. All right, I'm going to link this in for you right in here, okay, bud? There you go. That compares vintage style Jazzmaster pickups with the Lindy Fralin P90s. And the P90s are the ones in the Hybrid 2. So you will like that. That's a very good representation of if you didn't want to change anything else on the guitar and you just put in the P90s that are in that video, it's gonna sound it'll sound damn near like that because I didn't change anything else. Whereas to get the tone from the gold guitar on the Hybrid 2s, you're gonna have to change the main volume potentiometer because that does not come with a 1 meg volume pot. I don't know what they're doing, man. I don't know what they're doing. Works for them. People don't complain all that much. 1,000 for a body. Yeah, it's kind of freaking wild. And it's for a body for a guitar. The other reason I find it crazy for that specific instrument, two reasons. One, that's a poly finish. Two, that only fits a 3-bolt neck. So that's only going to fit a neck that uses micro tilt. How many necks are out there that use micro tilt? Where the person's going to be wanting to spend $1,000 on a replacement body. Not many. Not many. It's not like you're selling, 4-bolt nitro double bound Fender Telecaster body. That's a little bit different. Like you're really going into a specific niche. So I just found that pricing to be disgusting. I did not pay that for that. I wouldn't want to get in their business. Okay. Your favorite Mustang pickups? That depends. I have two sets that I like the most. And I'm actually in a crisis because I'm trying to pick between the two of them. Because I don't know what I want to do. For pickups that sound the most true to what my vintage Fender Mustang sounded like. My early 70s one, the purple one. Lindy Fralin. The Lindy Fralin stock ones. Those are just chef's kiss of perfect vintage Mustang sounds, man. No hype. Really good clean. Great articulation. The neck pickup compresses a little bit once you start to have a gain into it. But they've got this awesome character to them. If I wanted something a little bit more modern without being crazy about it, because obviously you could throw in crazy pickups, but I would go with the Mustang Specials from Lawler. Now, I'm going to level with you. I think I'm going to go with the Fralins for the Mustang. The only reason for that is because my Jaguar, it's hiding back there. Oh, come on. You guys know what it is. There, that guy right there. That one, that's got Mastery hardware on it, and that has the Lawlers in it. That is a rock machine. So I don't need two short scales that are going to be doing the same sort of flavor. But those are the two I like the most. I like those the most. And I actually really like the stock Ventera 2 pickups. They're very bright, but if you tame them a little bit via your amps EQ, they have a good clarity to them. They're not something that I would instantly want to rush out and replace. I actually like the Ventera 2 pickups better than the pickups that came on the Char Mustang, and I also like them better than the ones that come on the traditional 60s Fender Mustangs from Japan. They're good. They're good. You had to spend $1,000 on fixing the truck this week. Don't worry about it. We're all just shooting the shit. By the way, the pickup is not completely dead. The neck volume level is just significantly lower than the bridge. The volume is significantly lower than the bridge. Check your wiring, man. Like the full-on wiring, because that could have something to do with it too. But also, really adjust your pickup heights. Like, have you really checked to notice? Like, are they comparable to each other? Because sometimes when you buy a guitar, used especially when you buy a guitar, if it's not something you're used to working on, you're worried about the neck, making sure the neck feels good. Obviously, it's super important because that's going to be make or break whether or not you want to keep the guitar. But pickup height is insanely important, especially on offset guitars. And one of the problems with offset guitars and why it's extra important is because it's not like a Strat or a Tele where it's necessarily easy in every case to raise the pickup or to lower the pickup to the place where you need it to be, because sometimes that foam, because on a Jazzmaster pickup and on a Jaguar pickup you have this foam in between the two where the pickup is going to connect. Especially on the Jaguar, it's very annoying on the Jaguar. And what will happen is, after time, this foam, I'll be a true psychopath if I have one of these on my desk in front of me. I had one the other day. No, I used it. Man, I had a piece of foam I could have shown you. But what happens over time is, the more you have it or you leave it tightened, it compresses and it compresses and it compresses. So it's going to be harder to raise the pickup back up again. And you're going to eventually have to replace that piece of foam. So also, depending on the age of the model and how long the pickup has been too low, you might not be able to raise it back up as easily without replacing those foam pieces to get it to where you need it to be. Keep that in mind. It's the little details that people don't talk about, that only idiots like me, who have just played too many of these stupid guitars, learn the hard way. And also use the correct size screws. That's another huge deal. Use the wrong size screws, you'll never be able to get your pickup heights right. Yeah, that's a wiring thing then. Definitely a wiring thing. Okay. You didn't want to write it, but I'm happy with your Vintera 2 pickups. It was good for a price you was like new. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Leo, you think the Char Mustang is so good? I'm on the fence with that guitar. I'll be honest with you. Do you know why I got that guitar? I didn't want a Mustang with a Strat vibrato. Are you nuts? I wanted a neck. I bought that guitar just for the neck, so I could put it on a parts caster, which is what I've been talking about, what I want to do with my Mustang. But I'm at the point now when I committed to the body, because the body right now is being painted still. I'm still waiting on the body being painted. In the meantime of me having that process started, I got the Jag, which I didn't think that it was just, I never thought it was going to happen. I ended up with the Jag that was a featherweight in the perfect color that I love, and I have the Lawler pickups in it now. So I'm like, do I even need this Mustang? I mean, I'm going to have the body, so eventually I'm going to need a neck for it. But part of me is debating just selling the Char Mustang and waiting it out. If you really want the Char Mustang, you can send me an email. Maybe I'll sell it to you for the right price. I'll beat anybody's price on Reverb, that's for sure. Let my email right there. You know, you shoot me an email about purchasing stuff. I help people out that follow this channel more so than, just an average person on Reverb. Char Mustang neck on a Jag? No. I'm not having a Jaguar being built. I'm having a custom Mustang body be built. Yes. Yep. I saw the body was finished, but it had no finish on it. And the weight was awesome, and it was a cool idea. I won't be the first one to have done this, but it won't have the dynamic vibrato on it. And it'll be some shade of purple. I'll be straight with you guys. They sent me the initial shade, and it looked nothing like the reference color that I asked for. So I said, yeah, that's really cool, but that's not what I asked for. So they're redoing it. Otherwise, I would have had the body by now. It was more like a kind of like a washed out burgundy mist. I didn't want that. I wanted something bright purple. Like look at the logo I have for my channel. I wanted something bright purple. But yeah, my point was just like I looked at it like, oh, when I was like mapping that guitar out in my head, I'll make something a little bit more aggressive and something definitely unique and different. But finding a quality Mustang neck is very difficult. And that neck on the Char is the best neck that Fender Japan makes for any short scale guitar, in my opinion. That's perfect. It's perfect. So, yeah. Part of me is like, well, you know what? I can wait it out. I'll play the long game now because, I mean, I get the Jag. And then we'll just, I don't know, maybe I'll do a Music Craft neck for the other guitar. Just wait. I'm in no rush now. And go from there. What material are you using for your custom Mustang? Nitro? Or are you talking about the wood? Swamp ash. We went with swamp ash. Swamp ash with the purple nitrocellulose finish. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, as soon as I read it out loud, I knew what you said. That's why I changed my answer. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So we'll go with a purple Fender. Well, not a purple Fender Mustang because it's not going to be a Fender, but a purple Mustang style instrument. That should be. It's going to get done at some point. I mean, I have to wait for them to finish the body, and then we'll see what I want to do with all the parts and hardware. And also, I was planning on using the mastery stuff on that. So now I don't have a vibrato that I want to use for it or a bridge I want to use for it. I basically have a neck, if I want to use the Char neck, and I just don't sell the Char as a whole, which is tempting. I have the body. I have all the electronics, sans the pickups. I think I just blew the cover of what the guitar is and how it's going to be laid out, didn't I? Yeah. It's going to be a Mustang with the Jaguar vibrato in purple. Very fitting of me. Any news on the PRS refinish job? I might just totally scrap it because of the thing that happened with the other PRS. Honestly, I'm more inclined to do a blank Telecaster body that's going to cost me like $90 than have two CE24s. It's not off the table yet, but part of me wants to take the money and run on that guitar, even if it's just a few $100, because everything matters at this point. So, yeah. There will be painting on this channel. I have what I need to paint something, but it's just a matter of what it's going to be. Plus, our garage is still just a train wreck of boxes and boxes and boxes. And about 50% of those boxes are not mine. So they're just here. People just need to put them in the storage. But that is what it is. Sell the PRS. I'm tempted. They won't sponsor me for that. It's a cool idea. And honestly, I'm getting a little bit more creative with that stuff. Working with people. I mean, again, the sponsor of today's stream is Zounds. Part of me was tempted to write my own script because they're cool. They didn't give a shit. They're like, you don't have to do like an ad read or anything. And I was just like, I kind of want to. Like, because when I listen to Corey Wong's podcast, he does like his cool, stupid radio man's voice. And he does his product pitch for whatever it is he's trying to sell. Part of me wanted to do that. But like, yeah, you got to get creative, man. You got to get creative. It's hard to make money. And I'm sick of doing stuff for free. What is your verdict on the Jag Stang? Best of both worlds or just mad? It is not the best of anything. It's not the best of anything. That's all I'm going to say about that. That's all I'm going to say about that. And I'm going to leave that where it lay. Leave that where it lie, rather. Woosah. So, we're a wrap for today. Tomorrow's a very interesting video. I mean it. I say that a lot. But in the history of me doing this YouTube channel, I have never, ever, ever had anything like this proposed to me. And you've made it this far in the stream. Anybody who's watching at this point, I mean, I went so above and beyond what I thought that they would accept. Because I like I said, I've just been taught to, or I've just taken the approach of like, go for more, or like try to like, you know, shoot for the stars, so to speak. Oh, I shot for the stars. And I did not get the response I had anticipated I was going to get. It will all make sense tomorrow. Again, it's not like I'm making you wait a week or anything like that. And also there'll be more reason. You'll have more of an understanding as to why I'm going to push the membership stuff more tomorrow. It all ties in together. It really does. So I want to thank Zounds for sponsoring today's video. I want to thank all of you guys for popping in. And the next stream, I'll let you know when it is, because it ain't going to be next Thursday. But whenever it is, you'll know. And you'll know in advance, because I'll plan it for, the Sunday before, and I'll make a community post about it. So you'll have a few days to know. It won't just randomly pop up the same day. But thank you all, and I'll see you next time. Adios.